It's a beautiful morning.
Yes, it is.
Morning, Dennis.
Good morning, Janie. Oh,
There it is.
oh, Renee.
I'm gonna go turn off my phone so it doesn't interrupt the beautiful morning. Take two.
Anytime anyone wants to play, let me know.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you all. Since we're on and just still letting people in, I can see this beautiful Tuesday. Still a little June gloomy, but I'm taking it. It's good weather for walking, for being outside. Beautiful for the plants. Today is Tuesday, the 10th of June already. Here we go, flying into approaching summer. And we have a lot going on in June. So we have Philabelli. I've got Lynn here. I thought I'd let Lynn talk about this for a minute while we're still collecting folks.
Okay, so we're doing great. We could still use one more dessert, and and I can cover that if nothing shows up. So
Does that include Jim's cookies?
yes, it does.
Okay.
This has been on the list.
Okay, Jim really wanted to be sure you had his cookies on.
I do. I thank him and his wife for.
Thank
He
you.
told me his wife was baking them. So
Wonderful.
yeah.
Lynn, is that something I could donate for? I don't think I could get them there from Ohio.
I'm going to let Diana answer that.
Jean, thank you so much. I'm going to say we're going to keep your money aside for
Yeah.
our St. Andrews food pantry.
Yeah.
Because that's where the money really goes very efficiently. Because we've got some shoppers, we've got some people, a large community now of over 300 families that St. Andrews is serving. And we just wrote that $10,000 check, as I think most of you know, to San Diego Food Bank, because now we not only have our unsheltered brother and sister, we have the unfed happening everywhere. This is not unique to San Diego, of course. And yet here we are, Jean. So thank you so much. We will keep you posted about that. It will be the beginning of July that we start collecting monies as well for what items the St. Andrews Pantry is telling us. So we're trying to get very direct with them. What do you most need right now? So we can respond. So thank you so much. Everything helps, including, well, I can't do that. I don't have any money, but I can feed my neighbor. I can feed the person behind me in the Burger King line. This is all good news for me, folks. So thank you all so much. And I know that everyone is being very, very active, as we have to be right now. We are in truly challenged, difficult, dangerous. I'm going to go all the way to dangerous times.
Diane, I just want to mention that because we did request that if people have gently used or new backpacks, sleeping bags, or tents, that they could use those at Philabelli. But we would like those to arrive a little bit early, like closer to 20 to 6 or quarter to 6. That gives them a chance to organize them before the guests arrive.
Yes, for sure. I was going to try to get Libby to go over to the thrift store today and see if we couldn't grab some backpacks from Rancho Coastal. They have a pretty good selection. Sometimes they may already have been purchased, but we'll see. We're gonna see what we can do. These items are being taken. That's going to continue. We've been looking at the city council news here in Encinitas. The recent language has been something like more teeth for stopping homelessness, which means that the sheriff's department currently are taking the items when they find them. So everybody starts over every day. We can't imagine this. We cannot imagine this. And yet it is also our job, isn't it? Our responsibility to respond to what we know is happening. We will be participating also as a community in the No King's Day on this Saturday. People are going to the Del Mar site. The Del Mar site's from 10 to 2. at El Camino and a little up above Del Mar Heights. You'll find it up there. Look on Indivisible website. You will see several locations. I'm trying to make a big decision about this. I'm trying to decide whether to go to the UU's retreat with a lovely Tibetan Lama who's visited us, a female who I feel very excited about, or to do that. And I'm completely torn right now. I'm trusting it'll get sorted. But I want to do both. And of course, that's not right or possible. So I'm sifting through where I feel like I most belong. We'll keep everybody posted about that. They do want you to register if you do anything on Saturday because they want to know who's there and they want to know you're safe there. If you were thinking about the retreat at the UU, that is closed. So there is no more drop-in. You can't just show up to the UU hoping to catch a part of the retreat there. That is no longer an option. Just know that that's not this time. There'll be other times for those who are interested if you haven't already signed up. Okay, we're going to go right into practice today. We're going to go right into practice because ultimately then there is no talking about it. We talked about this idea on Saturday and we used Mother Teresa's quote, and I'll review it quickly. Someone asked her, "What do you do while you're praying to God?" And she said, "I don't do anything, I just listen." And then she was asked, "What does God do?" In response, and she said, "He doesn't do anything, he just listens." And I loved that quote because that listening is ultimately the very same listening we're all doing here in our practice, isn't it? We aren't just listening to our own thoughts. We're listening to the sacredness of the whole world. We're not just listening to our concerns. We're opening and including the concerns of the whole world. And we are responding first, always, with stillness, silence, and open space first. And then we'll remember, as we review today, what Chogyam said, which is without that capacity for stability of mind, for non-reactivity, for the breaking of our own hearts. We began really this course, didn't we, Jean? We talked about that right at the beginning. The breaking of our own hearts without collapse. This is a big charge, without running the other way. And then Chogyam would say without fear. And he doesn't mean that no fear exists. He means we don't use that as our map. We metabolize the fear. We stay with it. We drop into the body experience, which we're going to do today. And we abide with wisdom, with compassion. And so we're going to start like that today and then talk some more about it. And so we're first setting ourselves in the seat of the great Eastern sun, says Chogyam. We're letting all the radiant, brilliant warmth, light, goodness from all around us turn towards us. That's God turning towards us, says Mother Teresa, as we then, the benefactors, also become the beneficiaries and vice versa. We then turn that same vast open space towards ourselves. We begin like this. And find your seat. And I know, and you know too, that we have been gifted throughout all time. We forget this, to be alive and present, having the gift of this precious human life with all its challenges, all its frailty, all its tenderness. We have been completely gifted. We have this capacity for this loving presence, both to give and receive. And we're going to rest in this for a time. Placing the mind wherever you can sense this vibrancy, this energy, this wind horse, lungta, the energy of being alive this present moment with the gift of this human life. With these infinite capacities. They're right here for us. This capacity for love, for wisdom. No matter what the challenge. And we breathe it right in, enlivening ourselves. Each breath, the breath of wind horse, the gift. And no matter where the mind goes, be it internal, external, or both, we touch the sacredness of this world and ourselves in it. we are cultivating that quality of invincibility. And that doesn't mean that our hearts are not broken. It means that even when our hearts are broken, even in our tenderness, our softness, even in our fear, there is this ever existing, always available quality of this loving awareness that does not diminish. It does not fall apart, even in our fear. The turning of this awareness towards the fear is a beginning and radical act of fearlessness. You may notice worried thoughts, fear-based thoughts, sad thoughts, grief-stricken thoughts. They are held equally, lovingly. And then they are not only held in awareness, we understand the method, which is to drop beneath the thought into the direct experience, cultivating that invincibility, that confidence, that sacred relationship with all of life. We greet our tenderness. We breathe into the heart space. We don't tighten up there. We soften the body again and again. Each out breath. Listening deeply, letting the whole of this life touch us as we open completely to life, whatever is arising just now. Rumi called this the sacred dance. You will know it as a continuous flow of experience and response. Remembering that the first response is that silence, is that spaciousness, is that receptivity we let this moment imprint itself in us, on us, as we then do with life. Our very care, our very open-heartedness, our very willingness to be present here, not only to the beautiful, but to the tragic, the terrible, the fearful. In this, we become invincible moment by moment. We neither reject thoughts here. We talked about this a bit on Saturday. Neither do we allow them to proliferate, because that papancha, that proliferation, takes us away, separates us, disconnects us from the active, ever present reality of this continuous exchange of life and us and life and all that is here, including thoughts. We don't have to get rid of a thought, but neither do we proliferate. We don't get lost in the storyline. And when we notice that we do, we are already once again liberated. Already once again awakened. And then we set the feast, set the table for the feast. Chogyam says, we come back to the present moment, this body abiding here, this mind open, still and silent. This continuous sacred dance. And then with this softened body, this clear seeing mind, and this vast, wide, infinite, and open heart, we form this sacred relationship to everything. Nothing is separate, nothing is mine or yours. We are part of and completely hold ourselves, each other, and the whole of this life. Feeling everything. And then there is no other, not even God. And Chogyam would say, then you are the Buddha. And as we sit in the Buddha seat, radiating wisdom, love, and compassion from the awakened heart mind, we are then invincible. And completely tender. and it is good. So I thought I would check in for a chat for a few minutes about these practices and about this methodology, because hopefully you can feel or know this sense of invincibility that we're going to be looking at um, the chapter of in a moment is not steeled up. It is not rigid. It is not forceful or demanding. It is not militaristic, right? It is not against. There is no capacity for that when we begin in this right view. And so I want to check in on it because Chogyam uses words like invincibility and confidence, words like nobility, the king and queen, the great eastern sun, that could, if you didn't understand it correctly, could make you think otherwise. That I am someone or something doing something or to something else. And it is completely not true. It is not from, it's this source of this completeness, this connectedness, interbeingness to everything from which we sit, think, speak, and act. And then I remember how much I don't do that. I really, the minute I say it, I remember that other, this thing over there, externalizing or projecting or or even internalizing. They're all equal, aren't they? There's some separation, some essential delusion in us all. And when I read about then the 200 Marines, or I think it's 700 now, some number of Marines who are going to be going into LA to, support and correct the situation, collecting immigrants. I can feel for everybody. These are 19-year-old kids who have absolutely no idea what they're doing at all. And then you go, where do you stand in that? Right? Those ICE workers are our neighbors, by the way. They're not some other guy over there. They've got jobs. They're trying to raise families in a city that is too expensive for anybody to live in. Right? And then we go, how do we hold all that? Well, just this one breath, just this one connection, this one opening. And then we remember that without each other, this life is not possible. And I don't have easy answers or good solutions. I just know the othering will not be the way. Of this, I am certain. And it doesn't mean that we don't take a stand. either. This is the invincibility. We're going to take a stand. Saturday's one of them. And I'm not throwing rocks at anybody. Because we're all failed and lost here. And it doesn't mean that we're safe either, does it? Doesn't mean that. Doesn't mean if I just, but the invincibility and the tenderness factor together, I think have us bow our heads first, right? Like, I don't even know what a right thing is, yet I'm just trying to stay awake to it all. And then we feed our friends on Thursday, and we go to a retreat, or we march or stand peacefully on Saturday, and we do it again. Right, and then we do it again. Carrie will be writing that $10,000 check, I think sometime this week. We hopefully will begin to form right relationship with San Diego Food Bank, who's been around forever and who we have mostly ignored because we could. Because we could. And now we can't. Can we? Now we can't. And we're going to go get backpacks because that's better than not going. And yes, I agree. It doesn't solve everything all over, but we're all going to be doing this really one step at a time. And that's the tenderness part too, isn't it then? So you have to then let your heart break over it, right? You go, I don't know what it's going to help, but it's better than turning the other way. It's better than getting shut down in fear. It's better than collapsing into one's own. As long as I'm okay, we're all okay, which I'm seeing a lot of currently. Friends as well. Like, I don't think too much about that. Really? Okay. Well, maybe we better. I'll be thinking a little bit more about it. For ourselves, for others. Whatever your politic, it's now pointless. Right? It's now pointless. So I just want to chat about that. So you tell me your thoughts about it. Then we're going to go look at the invincibility chapter. But do you see why the practice becomes essential? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. There's no way, because you know what you were thinking right before you sat here. You know you're right, the hopelessness, the confusion, the aggression, right? We all feel, by the way, and I'm in no way saying that those are our problems, right? I'm not claiming those are just this part of being human in a world that is ever changing. And in which we do not have fast, quick, or simple solution, right? And then we go, whew, that's a big, I don't know. And what I can do is go to Philabelli on Thursday. And that gives us some relief, doesn't it? You go like, I don't know what else to do. I could do that. I don't know what else to do. I could buy some gently used backpacks. Right. So, thoughts, anyone? It is beyond language, isn't it? Actually, it's true. And here we are. I'm going to, while you're all thinking, I'm going to switch over if I can. And I want to go back because we looked very quickly at chapter 17 last time. that was the spark of confidence. I'm just going to look to see if there was anything that I wanted to make a quick note of. Discovering Windhorse, it says here, this is at the end of 17. It's on the last page. Discovering Windhorse is really just a question of giving up your resistance rather than working too hard to understand or finalize something. It's very simple and raw. It's exactly how you're feeling right now. There is this rawness in music. Occasionally, people are afraid to recognize these qualities. This quality of vulnerability, can you feel it? The resistance is the expression of our cowardice, not the fear. Just so you're clear. I thought that was a little confusing. Our fear is not our problem. Our buying into it through separation, disconnect, brainstem, fight, flight, shut down, freeze, or attack, that's what we have to be watchful of. The tenderness that is the result, however, is not the problem. In fact, it's a part of the path, right? We have to become tender and tenderized, I think, in relationship to this fear. Like, what do you do? Just what do you do? Like, don't know, not sure. And then Chogyam says, let me remind you, the what you do, if it comes from this, is always right. And you can have complete confidence in it, always. So whatever you do today from this practice will be the right thing. As long as you stay, tender, awakened, and count on that in you, in others, it'll be fine. But don't mistake the resistance to be from fear. It's from this essential tenderness that nobody wants. He calls it wretchedness. He doesn't mean the disgusting reality of life. He means nobody likes it. It doesn't feel great. Everybody likes the idea of cake better, right? And yet this is an essential part of the truth and a part of the path as well. Not knowing the nature of fear, he says at the last paragraph. You can't go beyond it. You get stuck in that cycle of samsara, spinning endlessly from fear and the running, fear and the shutdown, fear and the distraction, right? It becomes a never-ending path that eats you up and gives you nothing. But once you know your cowardice, and I would simply have said tenderness, once you know where the stumbling block is, you just have to climb over it, maybe just 3.5 steps. Our methodology would say, and then you just have to reside in it with it. There's no over anything, is there? You're not getting out of anything. I wish we could get just over it. How great would that be? Just over. So I wanted to clear that up. I read that yesterday and went, oh, that can suggest some things forcefully that I don't think are true.
So Diana, would that be the same thing as at some level still wanting or having the urge to throw rocks, but knowing it's not the right thing to, knowing you are in a different place, or
Yeah, knowing that it will not ultimately be of the greatest benefit.
yeah.
It doesn't even mean there wouldn't be a moment, Lynn, right, where throwing a rock might be exactly the right thing. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it wouldn't come from that habit nature of mind. It wouldn't come from seeing the other as separate. It would only come from then wanting what is best for all beings, including that person you just threw the rock at, going, I'm going to stop you from committing something that's going to karmically imprint on you forever. Right. And so I'm not saying that there aren't difficult actions to take. I'm saying they cannot come from the point of view or the delusion of you are bad and I am good. I've got it going on. You're some distance from the reality. And that we understand this as a collective disease and then act accordingly. Now, I have had a thought myself. I'll give you an example that what if it were me? What if I'm in that spot and here comes a bunch of folks and the best I could think to do would be to stand in front of someone. And I don't know what that would mean. I don't know what that would do. It would be the protection I could offer for a breath or a moment. Is it a solution? Probably it isn't. And is it better than nothing? And I think it is. I think it is. I think that's happening. I think people are now just starting to get in front of people to say, you have to get through me first to get to them. I don't know if the rock throwing is more helpful. I'm not too sure it is. I can't see it right now. And I'm not closing down to the idea that, right, we would do what we would need to do and we would never do it from you are now the bad thing. Again, remember, I know that's a 19-year-old, 20-year-old kid. Or it's an ICE guy who was my neighbor just trying to figure out what to do in a world that's, from his point of view, also gone to hell. And I think it's also an incredible opportunity for us to do this differently. You know, we have failed often in this regard, right? We have seen the person's skin color as other. We have, right, seen where you were born as other. We have. And this is just another opportunity for us to see and get clear and remember, and also deal with realities, right? The realities are, this is here now, and we have all, it has to be because it's here, have been part of its propagation, sometimes passively, silently, and collectively, right? So we're all just...
I wanted to say something.
Yeah.
It's a different situation, but for me right now, I have a family situation that's extremely difficult to navigate and hold my seat. A lot of pain and suffering, both as one of the individuals and the family. And I find myself sometimes not able to hold my seat, and feeling very anxious, which is I haven't felt for a long time. But the one thing that grounds me is slowing, connecting to self, body and mind, and then awareness. Because it's like a fog that lifts and reminds me not to fix, not to control, that things are as they are. And then I usually am able to see a way through it, which usually is let it happen. But what's really needed here is love and compassion.
Yeah.
It's not for me to fix the situation because I really can't,
Yeah.
but for me to be supportive. And so I think with the protest thing, it's kind of the same thing in that if you can really connect ahead of time on what your intention is, which would be to bring love and compassion, but also steadfastness,
Right.
to that situation, you might have a better idea of how to proceed.
Yes. Exactly. And without our practice, not only on the cushion, but in our everyday, we will do nothing or we will overreact because we're not connected then to the realities and the situation. And so, as hard as it is, Renee, you're saying exactly what's true. It is my job, right, to bring the greatest loving presence to the situation. And it doesn't mean stopping it. You can't always. It is a flowing river, right, of infinite causes and conditions, says the Buddha, many of which we do not have complete authority. And it's coming from uphill, as they say, right? It's just, this is throughout life and time and our culture and the Western world. And right, there's all kinds of things in greed and infinite factors. And I can be a stabilizing force in it. And it is also true. And it is one family, one member, one individual, one conversation, one hug, one meal at a time. And we get overwhelmed because we think I got to fix it all now, and then we collapse. Well, no, we don't. We can't. But I can go to the thrift store. I can make my carnitas. I can love my husband. I can smile at my sister and her dog and be happy she's here. I can't, right? This all matters a lot. A lot. Maybe, says Chogyam, that's all that matters. Maybe there isn't more to do yet than just this moment in this life, right, with that which is here and which I am in contact. And I think so. So where you are with your family is exactly correct. And maybe you don't get to the protest, but you are there anyway, because what we're protesting violence, we're protesting othering, we're protesting disconnect, we're protesting harm to others without having figured out our immigration law situation at all. Right? We didn't get that far, but we can't get there if we don't start here, says Chogyam. And you are living that, Renee. And thank you for that. And without your practice, I'm certain you could not live it to the way as skillfully, as lovingly, or as wisely as you are. And I don't have any doubt about that. Or in me. I don't have any doubt about the fearlessness I have. And I know where that has come from. It is not something that is mine. It is something that has been cultivated through these teachings and this practice. Thank you. So we're going to look at chapter 18, the other side of fear. We kind of reviewed it, so I'm only going to look quickly. I think it's up on your screen here. Chogyam basically says, we're just going to take this fear one step at a time. We're going to recognize it as fear, number one. We're going to allow its experience. It has something to tell us. We're going to feel it because what our habits are to reject, push away, or to take full claim. I am pathetic, I am failed, I am deficient, I am right. Neither is true or an improvement. Fear is just a part of this being human and being alive. And so can we cultivate spaciousness, cultivate kindness, cultivate wisdom? This is just a moment of fear arising without being caught up in its swell and then acting unskillfully. And uncompassionate. So that's what really he's saying here is, can we see it? Can we see it in its smallest form? Just arising this present moment. This is the most workable it's ever going to be, because everything else you do with it is likely to add papancha, to make it bigger, to make it less workable, to make it more horrendous, to make a storyline about it, about you, and then about the other. And right, can I just experience it completely here? In the experience itself, what will we recognize? These are simply felt sensations. These are simply thoughts arising. This is not me, not mine. I can abide even this through that loving presence and then act or not skillfully, right? But at least with regard for the tender reality of our human life. And then everyone's, that 19-year-old in that military gear and that guy who wishes he had a different job today. And still, like, what am I doing with this? How am I going to act skillfully in this situation? Then you will feel the tinge of sadness that we've been talking about over and over, it says here. You may feel some continuing sense of isolation and uncertainty, which is the leftovers of the fear. But nevertheless, the quality of intense fear begins to subside. It becomes workable. That's the key. The journey of working with fear takes place slowly and repeatedly, moment by moment. There's no just get over it, and we neither have to do that to ourselves. If you understand the cultivation of fear being our own deluded thoughts of separation, of disconnect, of I've got to keep it, I've got to get some reactivity, moment of reactivity, we can begin to, we lift the fog, Chogyam says. We begin to lift the fog and see fear as both a set of thoughts, a particular unpleasant body experience, and even an impulse, isn't it? To strike out or to retreat. And we don't do it. We don't do it. We don't do either. And it doesn't mean it's comfortable. That's the tenderness. That's the little, I don't know, that he was talking about. And yet, that is the path. We are going to stay center in the, I don't know what yet. I'm not, the confidence that we have is that if we can stay, the skillfulness, the what I can do right now will come. And I am certain about that. When I stay with something, sometimes only a few extra breaths, the reality of what I can truly do that feels like my greatest response in the moment to the truth will come. If I get too scared, I will react and then usually propagate harm for myself and harm for others. And I just noticed that it continues like that again and again. And so that hesitation, that pause, and then that turning inward. How am I really? And then from that, how am I really? Can I first attend to that so that I am at least not propagating harm? And the answer is, as Renee said, yes. And it matters and makes a big difference. Your attitude towards yourself and others begins to brighten up. This becomes a possibility and a capacity. Only then can you actually hold the whole of the universe in your hand. And in fact, I think that's what we're doing every breath, by the way. And so here's invincibility. I wanted to look at this chapter today. And so it says at the top of chapter 19, it is important to discuss how to actually maintain this loving world, we'll call it, 24 hours a day, so that you don't just have theories about it, you don't just have some separate practice about it, and you certainly don't have arrogance, like I've got it together because I'm a practitioner, I'm a meditator, I'm a blah, 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 you know, whatever it is you're thinking, be watchful of that. I don't think any of us are thinking that currently. I'm certainly not thinking I've got something together. I know how to be with this, work with this. No, I'm actually being very honest. Like, I don't know. I only know it in the moment, but I am allowing that to be sufficient. Right? I'm even allowing the don't know. What did I just say to begin today as an example? I don't know yet whether the retreat's better long run or whether going to the marches. And I'm really going, is that just for me? Is there benefit to others if I go to the retreat? Is the blessing of Avalokiteshvara, which is the greatest source of compassion, is that something to bring back to the community? Is it standing on the corner too? Yes, they're all valuable, and I'm allowing space. I don't actually have to decide this moment. And I'm letting it kind of marinate in me so that I can ultimately do something that feels as best it can for the time without knowing yet. I don't have to have it all figured out. There's something else we need to cultivate, which is a constant experience or quality of sacredness in everyday life. That's what I was focusing on today in the practice. Can we know it? Yes. Can we know it in all of our busyness? No. It just becomes a thing that we're navigating through. We're not in the sacredness of this everyday life. We're literally just trying to push it aside, like get it out of my way so I can get my thing done. And then we see everyone, don't we? And everything as part of our problem, right? Just in nuisance. Life is now just nuisance and in the way, instead of this essential stream from which all things are born and into which all things die. He says, I'd like to introduce a further way to cultivate unconditional sacredness. We can have a flash of sacredness in whatever is arising, a sudden awareness of unconditional sacredness. That simply may mean unconditional allowing, presence, openness, right? From which it becomes sacred because we form right relationship. We're not shut down, closed off, or othering, separating in any way. We're breathing it in and breathing it out. It is very important to actually practice this and maintain it. Why? The everyday mind is busy thinking about tasking, isn't it? Gotta get, gotta do, gotta be, gotta do. Get there on time, get this. These teachings say it is not that those aren't important, but they are not important if you have not already cultivated this sacred relationship to life. You're just going to be about the business of life, we call it, where there will be no joy and no tenderness. The cultivation of sacred world on the spot is the practice that allows all experience to become a part of this sacred, I'll say rather than Shambhala, mandala, or the basic enlightened structure of your life, right? Our connectedness to it is essential. It's not just an idea. It is the realization of the truth of this life and everything in it, and cultivates in you not only connectedness, but a certain essential power and dignity, and both gives it and is receiving it. It's a two-way street. It's not just you with a certain vision. Life returns something to you from that clear seeing, from the truth of that seeing. Such little details of life have an element of the bigger vision and dignity of the Bodhisattva path in them. He calls that warriorship. Heaven and earth are once again joined together. This is what makes everything sacred. What is it? The drawing of heaven and earth, the heart, the mind, and the body together in each moment. This is what cultivates sacredness. Even though you may feel that many situations in your life are difficult or even degraded, nevertheless, the entire world still possesses the potential for intrinsic awareness. Even when someone looks like they're being unskillful, they're being harmful, again, doesn't mean we don't take right action from it. It means we cannot do so without recognizing the sacredness in everything, including that perceived other. Appreciating sacredness is appreciating the sky in which the great eastern sun can be brought out. I would say appreciating the sky from under which all things and all beings are in existence, right? We're all in this same world. We're looking at the same sky and the same moon together. If there's no sky, you are trying to give birth to the great eastern sun on a concrete wall. There's not much dignity in that. What he means is it's dry and brittle. It doesn't have the tenderness in it that is required for true sacredness. It's an action, but it is devoid of the heart. And so then what do I say? You've heard me say it many times. Don't do that. Don't do that, because now you're doing it really to or for another and not integrating it as a part of your most heartful action. There is the flash of sacredness. It comes as a little moment of, I didn't see it. I was heading the other way. And then, oh, look, opportunity. And we often get a little amazed by this, I think, like, oh, look, this was here. This possibility was here. When I was being mad at my brother, not really, I was sad, really, at my brother and calling him a dope. I was holding that, just like, I know there's something to do here, but speaking to him from this place is probably not the right one. And then, of course, what? Something bubbles up, like we're going to call him every week. We're going to send him an e-bike. We're going to, right? And now I've got a brother just in a week who's, I was out on the e-bike twice a week, and now I'm going with my wife. And really, you could say transformed. Now, it's just a moment, right? It doesn't mean we don't have to stay engaged and participating, but just in that week, I know his felt sense of being cared about has dramatically changed. Why? We all took action and will continue to do so. It looked pretty intractable just the week before. So there are possibilities that we can't even see. And our work is in recognizing the sacredness, the ever-changing, ever-evolving reality of this life. We can find our way, just maybe in this moment. This understanding of sacredness can actually ward off attacks of fear and negativity. It's absolutely true. Our existence is fortified. I don't know existence. The rightness, the goodness of our actions is certainly fortified. I think that's what will be in evidence. With a sense of appreciation, yes, and sacredness in it all. It's absolutely true. If fear tries to latch onto us, it finds us very slippery. It doesn't stay. It doesn't mean it doesn't arise. I do ask the question, is this enough? Is there more to do? But I'm seeing that simply as inquiry at this point. I'm not going, that's deficient, or what if it happened? I'm not there. I'm just recognizing moment by moment. And it doesn't mean, I think, in any way that we're totally out of the woods of the vulnerability. Sacredness also provides a space or accommodation in our life. It creates space for possibilities rather than simply fighting or flighting. Sacredness is a spark of accommodation and generosity. That's right here. Let's see if we can't hold that. Sacredness is a spark of accommodation and generosity that can evoke further sympathy for and understanding of the nature of the setting sun or degraded world. What he really means here is we don't see anything as separate. Let's put it simply that way. We don't see the difficulty as somehow happening to us and separate from either our capability or our conditioning. We too have been a part of this arising because it is here. And so you can't go, well, I didn't have anything to do with that. Not directly necessarily, but remember, all conditions must be aligned for a thing to be born. And then it is our job to go, how do I then contribute to the goodness of this and minimize the harm or the aggression towards it? Well, Chogyam says over and over, don't begin by thinking you're not some part of this. And that's both that tenderness and that wretchedness, and also the resulting sadness, isn't it? You go, ooh, I didn't want to, like, I don't want to think about how I'm probably a part of my brother's sadness. I know I am. I don't call him enough. Is that mine? Yes. Can I take ownership in that with a certain kind of confidence and invincibility rather than just judge, condemn? Yes, because then I can't act skillfully. If I don't, going, oh, I'm calling you now. We're getting you, you're coming out. We're going to, right? And then, of course, you see fairly quickly, not always, but when it is in right measure, you see some evidence of the rightness or goodness. And it allows you that confidence to continue then, doesn't it? You go, okay, this is good. This is good. There is some evidence that we're heading at least in a right direction. We're at least understanding each other better. We're connecting around what we are to each other and how important that is. And then we no longer feel powerless or helpless, do we? You don't. You go, no, this is right and good. And yes, it may be one small action, and yet it matters. When you witness this, you can be very understanding. You don't have to go along with the neurosis. You don't have to stay in the shutdown. You don't have to get depressed. It doesn't mean you don't feel the sadness around it, but depression is something totally different. It's the condemning of you really in it, to go, there's nothing I can do. I'm pathetic and hopeless. There's no action to take. Nothing I do will make this better. I'm unworthy of being a participant in this world. Well, you already are. So good to wake up. But that's not the same as the essential sadness. It's a shutdown. You feel good that you are free of that world, the one that's filled with neuroses and fear, and that you have alternatives to offer. Any skillful, loving, kind action, which can free yourself and also help to free others. It is very, very true. You begin to see the ins and outs of the samsaric or setting sun world. You see the sacred space. You see the contrasts, which I loved, between elegance, this being a true participant, and the lack of that. You see now and know the difference between confidence and cowardice. It's like a bright light shining in a dark room. And this does not come with arrogance. This does not come with the idea that I am special. It comes with the understanding that I am essential. And as one drop in this vast open ocean of the bright light, the goodness. The reason the warrior is invincible is that he sees his opponent's world so clearly and thoroughly. This is that taking the other's stance, understanding the 19-year-old who's going, I don't want to go out there and have to push people back. I don't want to, right? This is not what I signed up for, and yet I'm being ordered. I don't see a way out of this. And if I can stand in his shoes, I'm probably not throwing that rock. I'm probably not. I don't know what I'm doing necessarily either. Because he knows the other world so well already, therefore the warrior can't be attacked or challenged. It doesn't mean you're not pushed back, does it? Spaciousness makes you sympathetic to others, but invincible at the same time. It doesn't mean you take the right action wholeheartedly. Invincibility doesn't have to be insensitive. Instead, because you are sensitive, so raw and rugged, therefore you can be hard like a diamond. I would say clear like a diamond, right? Shining bright like a diamond. And I will tell you, I've only been maybe in one or two situations where in a physically violent situation. And in that situation, one of them happening on a L in Chicago, I wasn't really trying to hurt the other. In fact, I was feeling for him in some way, but I was taking a very strong stand at the same time. I wasn't like, you're horrible. I was like, what are you doing? You've lost your mind. Like you just lost your mind. And like, stop it. Like, this is crazy and ridiculous. And it all, thankfully, worked out. And maybe it wouldn't have, right? So we don't want to go, well, that happened because she was so smart. No, but I was just like, this is not okay for anybody. And the actions really did come from that interesting place as I reflect back on it. And again, however the result then, what I will say is, it's still right. It was going to be the best I could do. Right? Whether he got the money or he didn't get the money, or whether he hurt me or he didn't hurt me, that became inconsequential. Interestingly, it was just like, no, this is not okay. And the people I was actually most upset with, by the way, in the story, are the L platform passengers who heard and saw the situation and did nothing. It wasn't even the individual. I walked up that platform and was just infuriated that everybody heard me screaming, and actually a few people coming down the L stairs and then running back up. And I thought, no, and I went right back up those stairs instead of down, and really looked at everyone like, how dare us all? Like, really, how dare us see something horrible happening and just stand here? And this is the part we cannot do, right? Because that's not just fear. That's what Chogyam calls cowardice, isn't it? That whatever the simple action, we didn't even take that one because of its inconvenience to our everyday lives. The realization of sacredness brings further loneliness. That sad and tender feeling we've been discussing, it comes with the sense that only you know your world. You can express only so much to others. There are always aspects of your experience that you cannot share, and by the way, should not. It is not ours to be informing others, right? It's just the knowing. And there is, he says, in that knowingness, sometimes a loneliness in it as well. And I think it is true. I think it is true. That knowing that 19-year-old, or knowing that dad who happens to work for ICE are in the bind like we are also. And that there is going to be no simple way through. But that isn't the problem, particularly. Rather, it's the source of the sacredness. We can feel for everyone and then take most skillful action as a result. Tenderness balances our experience so that you don't feel you're wearing a suit of armor and beating your chest. We are warriors, but ultimately warriors for everyone, not against. Proclaiming the wisdom, and as Renee said, and the love is the path. It comes with that softness and that sadness. They're true, aren't they? We will go on to chapter 20. It's our last chapter before conclusion. We will go over this next week. But in the meantime, I would like you all to be practicing, recognizing the sacredness of this world, this feeling that we are connected to everything and everything is connected to us, that we are not as separate as it would be convenient at times to believe. Because it certainly gets easier if we can just go, that's the other. I don't need them. I'm going to look at chat here as we get ready to close. How is anything sacred without a belief in God? Well, Jean, I don't think it's separating oneself from God, but God is not separate from us. God is not the other thing. It's not an entity. It's not out there. It is the goodness, the godness in us all. And so the sacredness then would be, if you understood that, then the sacredness would be everywhere. But we have a tendency to anthropomorphize, right? Theize, make separate this very thing that is not in fact separate from us at all. And so then we don't have to fear either, like this thing coming down from some other thing. It is all this, the sacredness of you and this life. So in these traditions, there is no other, not even God. And then you see God in everyone. Do you get this idea?
I get the idea.
Uh-huh.
It sounds a lot like God is love, but if God is love, why is Los Angeles going up in smoke? I can't reconcile. And you talked last time about the veil of theism.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm, yeah.
We are working, we're in the work of greater love in every moment, if you could think of it that way. And it doesn't mean it's simple or safe, is it? We're in the struggle, aren't we? Every moment. And we're talking about our own minds. Forget about LA, right?
Mhm.
Here we are in the struggle every moment between the most loving response and just fucking get out of my way.
And you said something earlier today about, you bow your head and you go. And to me, that's the sacredness, and it's related because I was raised that way to a God, not a man with a beard, but and I went back and read his chapter on sacredness, which is the moon in the heart and the sun in the
Yeah.
head. It's like, oh, okay. Like
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get
Yeah.
as many veils
Yeah,
off as I
good
can.
for you. Because if you see it as something else besides you, we're all doomed.
Yeah, for sure.
We're all screwed. The minute you decide you're not that,
Yeah.
and the minute I decide I'm not that, we're all screwed again. And the minute I forget that the other's that, we're still screwed, right? And so this is the sacredness of our everyday world. Can we recognize it? And by the way, every tradition, including the Christian one, says this very same thing, doesn't it? See God, see Jesus, see Buddha in every being, in every moment, and then understand what's my role, what's my part in it all, and never leave it to a set of beliefs that separate us.
I love that. Yeah.
Never do that, because now we're really in trouble and there is no potential for resolution, which is why LA is happening. We are still in the othering so completely. Like if we could only, but we've been here before. We've done it all before. This is not new. It's not news. It's we have to go back because we didn't quite get all the message. We're back there again, and as it rightly, because we've been buried in an appearance of that for some amount of time that's not accurate. How is anything sacred? Yeah, thank you. Sacred spirits are always present. Yes, I would not say that, Dennis. I would say sacredness is ever present, but spirits implies another. Again, it implies an entity separate, a thing over there or a thing over here, and it is vast and everywhere. And so there's no that thing, it's everything. And can we all see that? Oh, well, there's the rub. Can you see the sacredness in everything. Prayers and safety for all. Yep, that is for sure true. We wish this for all beings everywhere without exception. And this conversation could go on endlessly. Why? We all have beliefs. We are, and Chogyam says, be courageous enough to abandon them. Be courageous enough, fearless enough to abandon a belief or an idea that does not have continuing evidence for its truth and its goodness. If you are going into fear as a result of a belief, I promise you it is wrong. I'm guaranteeing it. If you go into fear from that belief, then it is obviously wrong, because that is not the truth of this sacred, precious human life. So be careful what you think, they say. Okay. I think the Buddha said that. Be careful what you think. All right, we're going to do our closing prayer. A prayer to who? A prayer to what? Since we just tore apart the theistic possibility. Well, to everyone and everything. And you get to include the earth, the plants, the minerals, the rocks, the fish in the sea, the clouds in the sky. And you vow again and again to protect it, to be a guard, to be a contributor and of benefit to it all. May I be a guard for those who need protection, a guide for those on the path, a boat, a raft, a bridge, for those who wish to cross the flood. May I be a lamp in the darkness, a resting place for the weary, a healing medicine for all who are sick, a vase of plenty, a tree of miracles. And for the boundless multitudes of living beings, may I bring sustenance and awakening, enduring like the earth and the sky, until all beings are freed from sorrow and all are awakened. May we all have happiness and the causes for happiness. Breathe it in and send it out. May we all be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May we recognize our good fortune and use it to the greatest benefit of all beings. May we rest and dwell in the vast, open, sacred space of this very moment and everyone to come before and after, free from greed, free from hatred, free from ignorance. And may our practice today contribute that this be so. And may it continue. So be it. Thank you all. Thank you all so much. Yes, please be safe, Tanya, as you are in LA this weekend. And we all have to be mindful, don't we? I don't think LA is the only place, certainly, where there is greed, hatred, or delusion in evidence, and where we are there to be the holders of that. We are not separate. That is exactly right. Interestingly, I just decided, as I struck the bell, I realized I'm supposed to go to the retreat. It just came to me because there is one of me to go to that. and there are many of you to go to the streets this time, and there'll be another time where that will be in the reverse. You should go make the lasagna, and I should be out on the sidewalk. But because there's only those teachings are only going to come through if I go to them, and I want to bring those blessings back because that is part of the compassion blessings from this retreat. So how nice that we got that just cleared up. Thank you all. Thank you all. I'll look forward to seeing you Thursday. Greg will be here for one more Thursday, and then I'll be taking Thursdays through the rest of the month. And Saturday is Saturday in the Garden. So I look forward to seeing you all there then. Be well. Blessings to you all, and much love.
Thank you. Have a very blessed day. I can't wait to hear about the weekend at the retreat. And I'm sure it's going to be amazing.
I will bring those blessings back, Tanya.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Holding everybody with lots of love right now. It's been a difficult year for a lot of people in a lot of places.
Yes, it has.
So,
Life is
yeah.
not necessarily going in the direction we most want and or need it to go, but here we are.
That's right. Isn't it? What was it? It's like an old AA term or something, like a life on life's terms.
That's right. We're the shapeshifters. We're not waiting for anybody else. Be
No,
well.
thank you. Be well. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.